flossing, you know. Feels good, man. Be a PUA. What's up, fellas? My name's Ryan Jaunzemis. I am the chief organizer of the Las Vegas Lair. And you guys that don't know what that is, that's a pickup artist lair. And for you guys that don't know, there's this underground secret society of guys all over the planet, hundreds of thousands of guys that we mostly chat on these forums, and we basically trade tips and tricks on how to attract women. I don't want to give a whole seduction community introduction today, but if you guys want to know more, you should check out this book called The Game by Neil Strauss, and also this book called The Mystery Method by Mystery. And there's a lot of interesting things that you'll learn by reading those two books, and from there the rabbit hole gets deep. Who I really want to address in this particular video is other guys out there in the community, and I just want to share a little bit about my personal story in the seduction community and how the Las Vegas Lair originally got started. We actually got a new DVD out. It's pretty badass. Looks real saucy. It's on sale on Amazon.com for $14.95. So check that out real quick. The picture on the front is myself with some of the other group organizers. We were recently featured on the cover of Las Vegas 7 magazine. I'm featured here with a few of my wingman and co-organizers of the group. These guys are some of the top dating coaches in Las Vegas. Maz and Abed Rabo, DJ Maz, CJ, Charles Jace, Man of Attraction. It's got a new audio program out. Definitely check it out. It's very, very good material on there. Charles Starr, author of The Secret to the Game. Christian S. Valentino. You can check him out at haveherwantingyou.com. Also has a great seminar called Doing It Direct. It's real good with the direct approach. There's a couple good videos of him on my YouTube as well. Anyway, today I want to talk about how I found the seduction community and my journey of moving from AFC to PUA to MPUA, which is a master pickup artist, to a PUG, which is a pickup guru, and basically how I just moved from becoming an average guy to a man who can walk into pretty much any venue and pull hot bitches. I've now fucked over 200 different girls. 204 at the time of recording this. I used to be just a shy guy. You know, I used to stand in the club with a beer and, you know, hoping like a pretty girl would just magically come up to me. And now I'm kind of the guy that walks in and owns the room and pulls beautiful women into the bathroom and has sex with them within just a few moments of meeting them. When I first came into this game, I had some experience with women because I was a professional rollerblader and sponsored by Soap Shoes, and I had gone on tour, so there were some interesting experiences with, you know, quite a few women, but not to the extent now. Just I'm gonna tell you the tale right now, and I want you to come along on this ride. There's actually a new book that I'm writing. It's called Ryan Jaunzemis, Master Pickup Artist, where I get really deep into this. I just want to give you an overview of what has happened over the last 10 years. So I ended up in Las Vegas in 2006 after a very violent divorce. I actually am banned from 4 countries: England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. All really on some stupid shit. I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically I was arrested on 7 different charges: assault, battery, drug possession, destruction of council property, disturbing the peace, and a bunch of stupid shit. I was ultimately beat down by 5 English bobbies, police officers. I was pepper sprayed, vertically handcuffed, and thrown into solitary confinement for a week. And then I was put on a restraining order from entering the city of West Denton, where I was living with my wife and my 2 children. And I was not allowed to enter that city. I wasn't even allowed to go back to the house to get my stuff to leave. And there I was after my court hearing on the streets, homeless, walking around Newcastle upon Tyne. And I ended up staying at some decrepit little YMCA hostel in Jesmond on the other side of town with all these, drunks and crackheads. And part of my probation, or it's not probation over there, it was something different, was to come back to court 2 weeks later for some kind of restitution hearing or something like that. And I ended up just getting fronted $1,200 for my mom for a plane ticket. And I was looking at the map. I could have gone to the East Coast, I could have gone to Florida, I could have gone to my friends in San Francisco, but then I threw a dart and I hit Nevada. So it turns out that I have a buddy named Dave who lived in Nevada, in Las Vegas. So I end up in Las Vegas, basically starting my entire life from scratch. I had to leave all my furniture behind. I had a full music production studio, lost access to my kids, and ultimately it threw me into a really deep depression. I was suicidal for a long time. I slit my wrist. You could still see the scars. When I got to Vegas, there was some drama at Dave's house and I had to move out, and I ended up staying at this little place called the Budget Suites on the west side of town with all these crackheads and prostitutes. And then I moved into some ghetto little apartment in the barrios of North Las Vegas. At first it didn't seem that bad until I realized I'm in the fucking hood. People were getting shot on not the front porch, but the mailbox downstairs. There was a stabbing, there was a shooting. And I'm living in this little apartment crawling with fucking roaches, with no power, no hot water, because they had some major problems with that building. And I didn't know it before I moved in there, but I didn't really have a choice. I needed some kind of roof over my head. Having this place that had no furniture in it, I had no money. I ended up getting this little job over at the Hard Rock Hotel, basically setting up bands and doing audio and lighting and that type of thing, which was lucky because it started at $19 an hour, so at least I had something to work with. But I was living in this shitty little apartment, single night after night, and it was just a fucking horrible experience. I talk about it on a couple rap songs that I did called Hard Times and Leap of Faith. You guys should check them out. Some real shit. Not like the bullshit commercial rap that you hear on the radio. This is the real gangster shit. But anyway, man, I was miserable. I was depressed. When I started kind of getting a little bit of money together, then I would just start going out night after night and just trying to find a woman so I could, start a new life. Ultimately, finding that perfect partner and start a new family. And at the same time, I was working on my music career. I was still writing songs. I was in the studio making beats every day. And I was going out at night to these open mics and karaoke events. And it was kind of weird because I would start having some success with some women. And I would notice that the way that I was getting girls, when I would sit at the bar by myself, waiting for my turn to go sing, I might try to approach a girl, or if a girl started a conversation with me, it just seemed like it didn't go anywhere, And I didn't know why, because I was thinking, I was like, man, I got a studio at my house now, I'm a rapper, why aren't these bitches responding? Why am I not getting no pussy? But then what would happen is I'd go up on stage and I'd bust a flow. And then girls will start dancing and they'd even jump up on stage, they start shaking their ass. And then after that, one time I went out and I bust a flow, and then this girl's like, that was cool. You want a drink? And I was like, yeah, give me a Hennessy and Coke. She brought me a Hennessy. She's like, me and my friends are having some pizza if you want to join us. And then, I go over and have some pizza. And she's like, she starts talking and she's like, so I don't live that far. Do you want to come hang out and watch a movie? And I was thinking man, I'm going to get laid. So she drove me back to her house and we fucked. And then I was kind of some kind of light went off in my head and I was like, what is it about sitting at the bar like an average Joe versus going up and in front of the whole group and kind of, and I guess showing off your talent? And so would sit at the bar, all these different bars, and it was this. I just noticed the same thing night after night until I actually got up on stage, and then everyone saw me perform. Then girls would respond, and I'm like, I wanted to find out like a way. How could I get girls and not have to do the performance? How could I just sit back and chill and have girls come to me? So anyway, like one day I end up at the self-help section at the Barnes and Noble, and I start seeing these books like How to Be a People Magnet and books on like success with women. So I started reading through some of them. Now back when I was 16 years old, I have this book still. It's called The Art of Kissing by William Kane, and I dated this March 24th, 1996. So this is 20 years old. But I stole this book along with another book called The Art of Seduction, and I remember reading this book. You could see through here, I've highlighted everything in here. I read this book over and over through high school because I always had this dream. I was like, I just want to be amazing with women. I even went to college and have a degree in massage therapy, not to be a masseuse, but just so if I'm with a girl, I know all these erogenous zones and I'm able to please her in those ways. So more so I took that entire course just to be a better lover. After I discovered the Barnes & Noble, it was a trip because I got this letter from a guy named David D'Angelo in my MySpace box, and it was like something about some new book that he made, Double Your Dating, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I started reading that, and then I ended up basically going to his website, and this guy had all these fucking products like Tactical Dating Program, Mastery with Women in Dating. This is original, by the way, $500 for this. Advanced Dating Techniques, and he's got this whole series. I went off the deep end and spent over $3,000 of my own money. Everything that I had in savings, because I was like, oh my God, like these are the secrets to the universe. But I never knew there was an actual community of guys who just focused primarily on seduction. So anyway, I'm in the Barnes & Noble and I start picking up a couple of these books, and I'm reading 1 or 2 books a week. Now, over the last 10 years, I've read over 2,500 books that all have to do with seduction and self-help, self-improvement, metaphysics, law of attraction. I just went off the deep end because I started reading these books, and then I came upon these 2 interesting books called The Game by Neil Strauss and The Mystery Method by Mystery. And it turned out that this guy Neil Strauss, who wrote this, who's a writer for Rolling Stone magazine, ended up with this guy named Mystery, who was known as the world's greatest pickup artist. And he had basically gone around and isolated all these different movements from the time of initially approaching a woman all the way to sex. And he figured out every little stage. And he explains ways in his book how you can systematically move from phase to phase if you know the objectives to meet. For example, you want to kiss a girl, you're not necessarily going to kiss her if she's not comfortable being arm in arm with you. And she's not going to be comfortable being arm in arm with you until maybe you've high-fived her. So there's these little steps, and he just kind of just pointed out, for anyone who was maybe oblivious. And then he created all these weird little acronyms, such as like IOI, which is indicator of interest, such as when the girl is talking to you and she's smoking a cigarette and is smoking like this, exposing her wrist, so she can release pheromones. And for example, if you receive, say, 3 IOIs, if she's talking to you, that's an indicator of interest. She's interested in you. She's smoking like this. And then maybe she's, sets her cigarette down and she's holding a glass of wine and she's stroking the bottom. Now, she's not consciously stroking it, trying to turn you on. It's subconscious mating behavior. Or she may be talking to you and she scratches like this, or scratches or exposes her neck, little things like that. And now there's a lot of books that talk about these types of things. A great book by Barbara and Alan Pease called The Definitive Book of Body Language is an absolutely phenomenal read, where you can start noticing if a woman's foot is facing towards you, then she's interested, and that you should use what's called the mirror effect, where you can face your foot back towards her so that subconsciously she knows you're into her. And there's all these little weird human mating dynamics to go with it. But anyway, in this book, The Game, this guy Neil Strauss starts talking about there's this community of guys and they're all doing this. So I found this community. Here's another great one that I picked up. This is called Revelation by Mystery. This book is $97. And then it turns out that these guys, they have all these DVD series. This is if any one of you in the community knows what this is vintage from 2005. This is a wonderful little set. Or something like this. Extreme Kino and Kissing Escalation. Anyway, so I found all these techniques, and I spent basically the next several months just tearing through them. Now, coming from a history of being a pro rollerblader and a pro soaper, I just instantly fell in love with this lingo that he had created, all this PUA jargon. Now, as a skater, we talk in skater talk. You approach a rail, fakie, and you bust the rail, half cab royale to rewind, or you half cab top soul to 270 mute out, So coming from that history of growing up in that, in that subculture, all of a sudden it was like the way that I kind of understood it was getting a girl's phone number was the same thing as busting a rail, but instead of approaching a rail, busting a trick, and then dismounting, it was more like the girl was now the rail, the target. So it was like, okay, so now he gives me a series of, like a pattern to say, okay, if you want to get that girl's number, if you want to basically bust the rail, it's like you're going to approach the set consisting of a target and an obstacle. You're going to neg the target. You're going to DHV to the set. You're going to attempt to build Kino. You're going to you're going to befriend the obstacle, extract the target, move her, bounce her, build a time bridge, number close, and then eject. And so when I saw this structure, the two just kind of clicked, and I was like, oh my God, like this is perfect. I like to bust rails. I like to bust raps. I like to bust open sets now. So now I'm like, this is amazing. It's like he made it into a game. I actually had reorganized my living room into like a little seminar room. Because some of these DVD programs, like Tyler Durden's The Blueprint Decoded, which is like $600, and it's 20 fucking hours long of him talking, giving all these techniques about how to pick up girls. And I'm just sitting there geeking out on everything, taking notes. I had got a 50-inch plasma TV, and I put it on my wall, and I put a desk in the middle of my living room. There was no more couch or nothing. It was just like an office, and I was just sitting here absorbing this information, taking notes, rehearsing everything. I had all these opening lines. I started watching VH1's The Pickup Artist Series 1 and 2. Then I discovered the Law of Attraction community, started watching The Secret, and reading Think and Grow Rich, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And it was kind of weird because I figured out that I have a photographic memory in a sense, and I was able to watch these programs, and then I could basically recite everything that I had just listened to for the last couple days almost verbatim. I was sitting there like night after night rehearsing in the mirror. Hey guys, quick question. Now I can only stay a second. I'm here with friends, but what do you guys think about, and I'm using all these pickup routines. And then I would start going out to the club and I was actually using them and I was getting results. I started getting laid. I started getting laid by this girl, this girl. I joined a singles meetup group and I started just basically kind of using the members in it as like an experiment. Because I knew like, all right, if I fuck up, you know, if I experience rejection, then who cares? Like I'm just at some singles group. So I went out and I started trying the techniques. But they were working consistently. I started fucking this girl, I started fucking this girl. I had this hot friend of mine who I was always in the friend zone with, thought I would never get to fuck her. I used some of the techniques, boom! Finally fucking nailed it. At this point, I'm feeling like fucking Superman. I went out to this super singles mixer at this club, and by the end of the night, I had made out with 10 different girls. My whole life had suddenly kind of flipped around because none of my friends could recognize me anymore because, you know, I used to just dress like a rapper. Baggy pants, a hoodie, you know. And then all of a sudden, I'm wearing these tailored suits and I'm wearing these button-up shirts. Now, I would have never worn a button-up shirt and dress shoes with like designer jeans. Like that was not what I would wear. But all of a sudden, like, I was dressing completely different. No one could recognize me. And I was talking just about these philosophical, just crazy shit that I would have never talked about when I was younger. And I lost a lot of my old friends, you know, in getting into this stuff because they just weren't on my level. People would say, hey, let's hang out. And I was like, right on, man, let's go get some girls. And they're like, yeah, that's what's up. And then I was like, okay, well, what you guys got to do is I'm trying to tell them how to do it because they wouldn't get laid anyway. Like they just go to the bar and they're getting wasted. And I was like, guys, you guys shouldn't be drinking. Why don't you stay clear-headed so that you can actually try to pick up these girls so we can isolate them and move them to a seduction location. And they're like, man, I don't know, that PUA fucking mumbo jumbo shit, that doesn't work, man. Meanwhile, like I was pulling bitches and these guys were like just getting wasted at the bar eating chicken wings. And like when they would finally approach a girl, they're just like, what's up, girl? And I'm like, I started looking back and I was like, that was me. That was what I was doing like before and I was just getting lucky. But now I had acquired this skill where I could just arbitrarily walk into any venue, choose a target, and then start using all these techniques. DHV, neg, Kino, you know, and I was like, oh my God, like this is fire. And like, I pretty much dropped most of my friends. I just stopped hanging out with them. But then I got kind of lonely again because I was like, well, I need to find people on my level. And so I was like, I started putting this ad out on Craigslist. And I was like, you know, I'm a PUA pickup artist in Las Vegas. And, you know, I'm just looking for any other guys who are into this stuff. And didn't get any response. And so after I go on Craigslist and then, you know, that ad was just not working, I'm searching around PUA online and the internet was not like it is nowadays, you know. So I'm looking around, I'm looking through like people's MySpace, like anything that has to do with PUA in Las Vegas. And ultimately I find LasVegasLayer.com and some guy named Constantine said that he runs the Las Vegas Layer Pickup Artists group. And I'm like, the fuck is this? Anyway, I called the number and there's this guy, Peter Fork, and he apparently was the guy who was running that group, and they met up over in Chinatown at this place called Emperor's Garden, a little, and this guy would rent out the back room in the restaurant, and there would be groups of guys, pickup artists from the community that would show up there every other Wednesday, and they would just talk about picking up girls, and they'd talk about what is a DHV, and you know, it was very beginner stuff. These guys were at this level where they'd approached 1 or 2 sets, or they just finished reading the book The Game, and they wanted to find other guys. So anyway, I called up this guy Peter, and he's like, yeah, come out. And it was just these guys, like nerdy guys, sitting around at this table eating Chinese food, talking about the techniques. But when it came to actually going out to the club, it was like, I was like, so you guys gonna go out tonight to the club to do this? Like, oh no, I got work in the morning. Oh, when are you guys going out? Well, and it was just excuses. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this isn't a lair. Like, I'm gonna make my own fucking lair. And I had this vision in my head. I was like, man, I'm gonna create like a group of the world's best pickup artists, and we're just gonna go through and we're gonna destroy Vegas. We're gonna take over. And I had this vision, kind of like in that movie Revenge of the Nerds, the scene when he's going down the stairs and the people were dressed in like these robes and there was all these candles, and I wanted to be like real, like cultish, like. So anyway, I ended up finding this site called meetup.com. At first I didn't know if it was going to work, but I literally kept hearing this voice in my head that was like, if you build it, they will come. I found this website called meetup.com, and I was like, what's this? And I guess anyone could go on there and make a group at the time. Now meetup.com sucks big fat donkey dick because they actually kicked my Las Vegas Lair site off of there because it doesn't meet their community standards, and they don't want a pickup artist group on there. So, but at the time, anyone could make a group. You could make if you liked, it was basically a site where, let's say you're a cat lover and you want to find other cat lovers, then you basically say, hey, this is the Las Vegas cat lover group, and we're going to meet up at my house on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and bring your cat, and we'll all pet each other's cat. And, or there's like a flag football meetup, and there's a mountain climbing meetup. So anyway, anyone could go on there and make any kind of group. So I made this group, and originally it was called the Renaissance Program. And I didn't want to call it Las Vegas Lair because there already was a Las Vegas Lair in Chinatown. So I was trying to like rename it at first, and I don't know why I chose Renaissance, but I guess it was about being a Renaissance man, because I wanted it to be more than just pickup. I wanted it to be about a lot of inner game kind of stuff, not just about picking up girls, but actually changing your life, becoming like the type of man who naturally attracts beautiful women. Things like not only being successful in relationships, but also being the type of guy who's hitting the gym, working on getting six-pack abs, being the guy that's stepping up your finances so that you have a big bank account, working on progressing as a man, and building higher social status and value. So originally there was like a couple of guys actually signed up on my little group, and that's how I originally met Maz and Charles, who had both read the game, and Charles had actually written a book called The Secret to the Game, and he was real into the law of attraction as well, and combining the law of attraction teachings with the game, and basically using the techniques that are like in the book Think and Grow Rich and Rhonda Byrne's movie The Secret, and all of that kind of stuff. And then more and more guys showed up, and it started getting bigger. As I think meeting Maz was one of the most pivotal points in my development in the game, because Maz was like, he wanted to learn this so bad that he was willing to go out 7 nights a week with me and learn this game. And that dedication was just like, yeah, like this guy's on my level. And so he had this pimped out Yukon dope system in there, and basically after work, he owns his own landscaping business, and so he would just, after work, he would come pick me up, and we'd just ride out down to the strip, bumping. This is Eminem was big album out at the time, playing that song Beautiful, and we just ride out to the strip, and basically 6 or 7 nights a week, just all night long, gaming, just every fucking day. And we did this for about 5 or 6 months, just every fucking day. And we didn't pull every day, but we were pulling a couple times a week, and just building that score, and just learning all the techniques. And then it was like, we'd sit there and tell each other, like, you could tighten up your game if you did this, or I just saw you close the girl, and then you got the number and you left, but you could have moved her, like, I guess auto-correcting each other's approach. It's kind of like, okay, I saw you open it this way, I think you could have been a little more smoother the way that you opened, and just basically like getting to the point where it was like, because you can do an approach and get a number, but maybe it's clunky and it's kind of like you're robotic. So some people like there's this one guy, he always opens sets, and he's like, because I tell him to, you want to put your hand like this, but you want to lean, over the shoulder, so I'm not giving too much value. I might just be leaving, and to be like, hey guys, quick question, and put the hand like this, and he will always have the hand like, hey guys, quick question, what do you think? And like, he's very robotic. And if you do it enough times, then it just looks like you're naturally that cool guy who's just in the club talking to people, socializing. You don't really want anything. You're just kind of like, oh, hey guys, you seem interesting. What do you guys think about this? You know, like there's cool guys like that. You might be at the bar watching a football game, and the guy next to you is just like, I hate this fucking guy. What do you think about this dude? And you just start getting in a conversation like that, and it's natural. It's not like the guy wants anything. He's not like over there thinking like, you know, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna get that guy's number or something like that. So you want to make it real smooth. I mean, you want to be Casanova. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be Don Juan, playa. You gotta be smooth. And now you don't have to be smooth. You have to be super smooth to get a girl. But anything I do, anything that I get into, I like to be the best at it. So like, I want to have swag. I want to have style. I want people to be like, damn, like not only did he get this bitch's number, but like he looked good while he was doing it. But yeah, Maz and I were just like going out every fucking night, whether it was to a club, whether it was a bar, strip club, after hours. We were hitting up all these little singles mixers. We'd be up at sergeing in restaurants, trying to sit down with a fucking group already eating dinner, and just kind of like, hey, can we join you? Like trying to. I'd be out at the daytime in the grocery store practicing my day game down in Town Square. Everything, dude. It was just like a fucking 6-month Sarge-a-thon. But the thing is that my original goal was just to find, you know, a couple other guys and train them on what I knew, get them up to speed, and then go out to the club and just meet girls. Because what I just personally wanted to find one amazing girl, and I wanted to kind of create a group of wingmen to assist me, and then also me assist them. But as these guys were showing up, people on meetup.com, you know, because it was also, the keywords that I had put in was like single men, psychology, evolution, singles night, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there was these people, I was getting a pool of guys, single guys, who had no idea what the seduction community was, who had never read the game. They had no idea what was going on. So as soon as they were showing up, the way that I had written the description was like, you know, this is a group of guys, we learn how to pick up women, I know all these techniques. And anyway, there was this buzz going on, and we ended up on the front page of meetup.com. I got featured somehow, whatever, and all of a sudden there was over 200 students that I had that were showing up at my door knocking, and it was kind of overwhelming. And they were looking at me like, as I was in the teacher role, and I was technically not ready to be a teacher. I just wanted to meet friends who were into the same shit as I was. But because it had forced me into that role, I was like, it forced me to step up my game. So I ended up getting Microsoft PowerPoint, and I started basically just saying, okay, this week we're going to discuss body language. And I took everything that I knew on body language, and I was like, how can I condense this into like a 2-hour presentation? So I'd spend, you know, basically the week making a body language presentation, and then I would make a law of attraction presentation, and then I would make how to be a good wingman presentation. And I just, every week it was like a new subject. More and more people started showing up, and at that point it was like, I need to start charging for this, because like these pickup gurus are $7,500 mystery is charging on his website to teach the same shit that I was. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I originally started $5, okay? It was just $5 entry fee, and I'd make it for like, my living room, it would hold like 25 people or whatever, and you know, I had the whiteboard up, and this shit was just getting like beyond nerd. We were just geeking out, and I'm going over the vocab, and I'd be sitting there on this later this website came out called PUAlingo.com, and it has all the vocab. It's like 500 different PUA terms, and I'm sitting there just reading this dictionary, you know, absorbing all this information. I actually have a bio on PUAlingo.com where I'm listed with the top 100 seducers in the world. But originally it was just $5. You know, people would come in, and it was like practice. The word started getting out bigger, and then all the other guys at the other layer, the guy Peter who was running it, he basically started telling them, you know, go over to Ryan's group, and that he eventually stopped doing the whole Chinatown lair. I took over Las Vegas Lair. I ended up calling it the Las Vegas Lair. Got the website, thelasvegaslair.com. We don't have that website anymore. It's more on Facebook. If you go on Facebook and you type in PUA Lair, Las Vegas Lair, it'll show up. There was some drama that occurred, and I'm going to get into that when I start talking about Lair Wars. And then ultimately, like, at that point, I was basically the leader now of the Las Vegas Lair, which quickly blew up to becoming the second biggest lair on the West Coast next to the Casanova crew, which is the Los Angeles Lair. So anyway, shit started getting really intense really quickly. I started getting phone calls from all these gurus. And basically, these gurus who would go, they travel from lair to lair to lair, giving lair talks, and where they go and they talk to the guys in the group, and then they try to pitch their product. And so there's politics involved when you're running a lair and an outside guru comes in. Let's say, for example, guy comes in, he talks to the group and he says, by the way, I'm doing a boot camp this weekend. It's, while I'm here, it's $500. I'll take you out for like 4 hours and show you how to pick up girls and whatever. If a guru from outside comes in to your lair and he sells a product, he's supposed to give you at least 10, if not 20%. So let's say someone sells a $500 coaching package to one of my students, then they have to give me $100. It's my cut as the lair chief, basically allowing them to come and present, and I set up a meeting and give them an audience. Otherwise, if they came through town, they wouldn't know where all the PUAs are at. So essentially, in the end, that's like the main job of the lair chief, is hosting these meetings, and then when the different gurus come in town and give a talk, then that ultimately is really the job description. You don't have to be a master pickup artist, or you don't even have to really be good to run a lair. You just have to make the lair, and then you're just the host. Now, it was cool because I got to work directly with basically the best seducers on the planet, and part of the deal of that I would set up, I said, look, sometimes I would take the cut if they would make a sale, but oftentimes I would say, look, I don't care about that. I want you to teach me your best shit. So instead of you could keep whatever money you make from these guys, you can keep 100%, but I want private coaching. So anyway, I got to basically work with all the best seducers that were coming through town, and I got to learn all of their techniques as well, and in real life, not having to, necessarily read them. I actually got to go out with Vince Kelvin. I got to go out with Psych of Game. Psych was great. We went to Town Square. They brought the microphones and shit. So he was doing a boot camp, and he's having me open a set, and he's kind of helping me to micro calibrate my behavior. But basically, I got to learn from all the top guys one-on-one, which was just so beneficial to tightening my game and just taking it to a whole new level, and then just being able to take all of their techniques and just building a greater pickup arsenal. A lot of people ask me, well, what's your style? Are you mystery method? Are you direct game, indirect game? I'm liquid. I do everything. I do whatever needs to be done to get the job done. At this point now, my house is pimped the fuck out. Luxury condo in Henderson. I was in a complex with 2 pools, jacuzzis. I had a garage with a full weight room. I had put custom spinning rims on my fucking whip. I had a $2,000 Sony Explode Infinity system, EQ, capacitor, shit bumped, 250-inch plasma screen TVs, one in the living room, one in the bedroom, full 5.1 Dolby surround sound, Sony digital, the whole fucking 9 yards. I was eating off of Noritake China platinum trim dishes, electronic soap dispensers. I had towels, black towels that were custom embroidered with my name on them in gold. Everything was brand new. Italian leather sofa, love seat, mirror top tables. I had 2 full stock bars. One was outside on the balcony with tiki torches. The other was inside Had a fucking $700 kegerator. Shit was stocked with all top shelf XO liquor, all fucking brand new, chromed out kitchen. Everything was brand new off the shelf. Fucking espresso machine, bean grinder, like the K-Cup, a Breville $300 fucking coffee machine that I never even used any of the shit. I just had basically set up the whole kitchen where it was like everything was like pimped out. And so a girl could come in there and be like, yeah, this guy's balling. Like, I want some of this dick. Like, and I would do this thing called happy hour, which was a David D technique. And I would kind of tell girls every week, by the way, I'm having happy hour at my place, you know, on Friday. A couple of us are going to meet up and then we're going to go out to the club. You know, maybe we might pitch in and get a limousine or something like that. You're welcome to come. Bring, you know, I might need a wild card. Bring a friend or two. I'm going to have a couple friends over there as well, single guys that, if you have some single girlfriends, it's like, oh yeah. So, you know, I would get a bunch of people. Basically, they would show up at around 7 o'clock on Friday night, and we just kind of mingle. And I'd pour some drinks, or sometimes I'd have my wingman dress up in a fucking like slacks and the white shirt with the bow tie, and he would just play the bartender role, and that would like boost up my status. And she's like, man, you got like the bartender going on, like damn, like you're the man. And the place was really nice, really luxurious, very classy. There was like an easel set up. I was painting and shit. Like, I watch a lot of that movie, Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, and I really watch the way that, like that dude becomes a Renaissance man, and he ends up doing all this stuff. Like at first he keeps trying to pull this bitch, and she's not having it, but finally at the end, like when he's like, she walks in and finds him playing piano and saving cats from fucking out of trees and shit, like. Then she's just like, she becomes attracted to him because she's like, oh wow, this guy's like, he's amazing. Like wow, he's so much different than all these other guys, you know? So I watched that and I was like, dude, I have to be like that guy. Like I have to learn how to play every instrument. I gotta learn how to cook. So I went to school and I ended up becoming a master chef. I was like, I had this image in my head, like, I want to be a guy who when I pick up a bitch, like, I'm just gonna mesmerize her. She's not gonna know where I'm coming from, what's happening next, and I want her to kind of like be like, wow, like I can't. I want her to be thinking about me all the time, like what is this guy gonna do next, and just really become like this man of mystery. And then I've had girls actually admit that to me. They're like, you know, ever since I met you, I can't get you out of my head. Like I'm wondering what you're gonna come up with next. I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, like this is a trip because this bitch, she don't even know. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. Like this is all pre-planned. So after that, I started. I had to start doing a monthly fee for the guys, and I put like a $39 monthly fee. So the guys I would consistently be getting money in from all of these different students. Like they pay $40 and it would just show up into my account, which was great because not necessarily like profit in my pocket, but this is great money now where we can rent out banquet halls and take it up a notch. You know, this is like, now we're gonna do an outing with the guys and we have $3,000 and we're gonna use that to rent like a day bed or a booth, like a booth in a club or they have these things out at the pools out here in Vegas where you get like a room by the pool with a couch and a TV and like, so as a group, we're like, okay, we want to rent one of those out for the day, and those things are like $500 just to look at it, you know. And if you want the VIP, that's like $2,000 or $3,000. And all of a sudden, it was like, okay, now we can use this, and we have a home base, so we can go out on our little Sarge-a-thon, you know, and we have a home base to bring girls back to, or you know, it wasn't just all about teaching. We had all these. We started doing all these crazy events. I was like, one was, we called it Sargopoly, where I dressed up as the Monopoly man, and I had a top hat, and it had all these challenges, like, and we started just opening sets. We're walking up to girls like, hey, do you want to play a game with us? Take a challenge out of the hat. Like a girl would pick it out, and it would say, you have to go talk to a stranger and get their number within 3 minutes. And these girls were like, oh, you guys are crazy. And that game basically, like we owned the whole bar. I ended up fucking this model, this catwalk model, who was hot as fuck, and it was just like because we had created this giant spectacle, and here I am walking around as the Monopoly dude with like Monopoly cards in my pocket and a cane, and it was just making our group like, who are these guys? Like, these guys are crazy. They're having a scavenger hunt. And we did these photo scavenger hunts on the strip. We did some crazy events. We would do like 12-hour Sarge-a-thon for Black Friday. You know, like all these girls are out there shopping, biggest shopping day of the year, and here we are at the mall in Las Vegas just fucking sarging, like opening every set. Or we do an event like at the Bellagio at the Light, and then we'd get a room at the Bellagio, so and it was just an open room, and we said like we need 12 different card keys or keys to open the door, and so it'd go like with a small little group of like some of the best guys, and it would be like, okay, if you're gonna join, it's like only. It was kind of weird because if you broadcast that you're doing some certain event to everybody, then you get like everyone showing up, and you can't roll in a group of like 50 dudes. Like it's not cool. So it would have to be like, you know, the top 10 guys or something like that, or like we'd have these events where it was like, you know, I'm doing a special little group and I can only take 3 guys, and it's the first come first serve, and then it would have to be kind of secretive, which was there's just weird dynamics that would go on, but because when you're dealing with over 200 people, it's like, how do I offer value without alienating this entire group of guys? You know, I don't want to make people feel left out, but you know, you can't walk around in a group of a 200 set walking down the Las Vegas Strip. It doesn't work. But anyway, like having the monthly fee was great because all of a sudden it was like when they come to the meeting, it was like a banquet table with, you know, 12 large pizzas, and there was drinks and coolers full of beer, and you know, a lot of times I also did always like potluck and stuff like that, where, you know, I have everyone kind of bring a dish or something like that. We had, you know, movie night where we would sit around and watch chick flicks, a bunch of dudes. One of the guys in the group had a 120-inch projection TV in his basement, and so we'd get like, you know, 12 guys would show up, and we would just sit there and watch fucking chick flicks and take notes all night, like what's that Matthew McConaughey movie, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, you know, like just kind of like watching his character. How does he interact with women, you know? Or like shit like The Notebook and Titanic, and we'd be like trying to get all these moves down, like man, all these guys that all these love stories, and taking all of their Casanova-like moves and just implementing them, and then we'd be practicing, and we'd rent out spaces where we would just practice the moves, practice the body language, practice opening sets. We did a church sarge. We went and sarged at a church. That was a trip. That was like me and a couple guys went down, and our challenge was, let's see if we'll sit in on the little mass thing that they have, and for not the sunrise service, it was a little more like a noon service, and so we sat through the hour of the church, and then afterwards people was congregating, and they do the little hand, like in church I guess they shake each other's hands, like shake your brother's hand, something like that. Anyway, we start walking around, and that's where we started. We were just opening sets like during the mass, like talking to some girls, shaking their hand. You guys are cool. All right, a pleasure to meet you. God bless. Like it was a trip. And afterwards, people are congregating outside the church, and so we started opening sets, and we're like, oh yeah, we're all going over to Denny's, you know, praise the Lord, and you know, so these girls are like, okay. And we were basically getting Insta dates from the church straight to Denny's. One thing really dope that I did was, basically I had a meeting with all the guys, and I was like, okay, you know, which one of you guys has, you know, big or decent sized houses or have backyards, who want to volunteer, and we'll do a rotating schedule. Like for example, you know, one guy, he's like, okay, I have a cool house, I got a barbecue pit out there, so we're like, okay, and he's like, I'd be available to do that, you know, Wednesday of this month or whatever. So we'd write that date in, and basically, if it was, this guy would be like on this week, and this guy would be the next week, and it would just kind of rotate. So when we were out sergeing, anyone in the group, any of those 200 dudes could tell a girl like, hey, by the way, you know, we're having a pool party next week, you and your friend should come. And there was always someone in the group who was having a barbecue that week, and it was just an ongoing thing. So no matter what, like, it always looked like everyone in the group had this big social life. So anytime any guy brought a girl in, you know, she'd be able to come to a party and know that this guy had like all kinds of friends, cool friends, friends with nice houses, friends with pools in their backyards, friends who had there was lots of girls in their life, so everyone looked like they had pre-selection. One of the homies, Adam Van Wildest, he was also an instructor with RSD, and Tyler Durden, you guys from Real Social Dynamics, probably PUA guys know him. He would go, when he comes to Vegas, he would always stay at Adam's house, and Adam had this dope, it wasn't necessarily a mansion, but it was a big, huge house, and he had a jacuzzi, big backyard, so he'd always throw these parties. So I'd be at the club, and I'm always trying to like pull bitches straight back to his house. Like I was like, Adam, you know, can I use your jacuzzi tonight? Oh yeah, no problem. And that house was just down Flamingo off of Mountain Vista. So I'd be talking to, you know, bitches in the club, and then it's like, what are you doing after this? I'll say, I got an idea, you know. I'd either usually say like, I got an idea, we're gonna go get breakfast right now, and then I bounce them to like a little place to grab some food and then try to get them back to my house depending on the situation. Or if it seemed like they still want to party, then I was like, hey, well, there's an after party right now at the homie's house. And they're like, oh yeah, they're like, yeah, I got a jacuzzi. I know, you know, you probably don't have a bikini with you, but I just jump in there in my boxers, I don't give a fuck. And she's like, I don't care, I got bra and underwear. Like, okay, it's on, you know. And that was a great strategy. And his place was it was a 9-bedroom place, and he had the master bedroom, and it was renting out, you know, bedrooms to some other guys. Some people were PUA, some people was just college people, and but there was always like spare room, so you could like take a bitch to the jacuzzi and then pull a bitch back into like the spare bedroom. He didn't give a fuck. Fucked a bitch in the closet. And they had like a pantry. It was a dope place. It had beer pong table. There's 2 beer pong tables, and then there was horseshoes set up in the backyard with a jacuzzi. So it was stand up. There was some stand up arcade games and a dartboard. Like it was a very frat house vibe. It like little candles and Christmas lights and shit. After that, like we ended up getting featured on the cover of Las Vegas 7 magazine, the most interesting men in the world. Maybe not, but thanks to the science of the pickup, there's no resisting the layer, ladies. Like, so this reporter shows up, and he interviews me and Charles and the rest of the guys, and he's kind of skeptical at first, and he wants to see, like, he's like, I want to do this story, but I'm not going to do it unless you can prove that this works. So I said, fine. So we went out to the strip, where I basically got phone numbers and kisses from, I opened this 2 set with this hot blonde and her friend, and I come up and I do my little, one of my openers called the Island Opener, where I'm like, hey guys, quick question. I'm doing a little survey for YouTube. If you guys have your own island, okay, like you own your own island, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the first thing that you would do on it? And the girls could go, oh my God, like, I'd sit in a hammock and I'd smoke pot. Or like, they'd be like, I'd have sex. And you're like, oh, you might be my new best friend. High five, what? Oh, you should give me a little spin. Well, you guys should both, then I do this double spin. And so the reporter is sitting there with my camera filming it. And so he's blown away. I end up with her number in like 1:34 or something like that, or whatever. So he's like, okay, I'm convinced. Like, and then we ended up doing the story, got on the cover. Next thing, we were in the City Life magazine, and then I did an interview with Her Obsession magazine. And then I started doing all these podcasts. And then Bad Boy from Bad Boy Lifestyle, who's basically like the best pickup artist in Europe, he does we did a lair talk for him, which is badass. And he's like, well, would you like to join us on the tour? You know, as one of the, basically like a concert, like, you know, he was like the headlining band, so I got to be one of the openers, and then there was one other guy. That gave me a chance to do all these lair talks all over the country, kind of giving an introduction about myself, the Las Vegas lair. I got to make some great contacts. Then the other guy, the chief of the New York lair, he'd give his little spiel, and then Bad Boy would do his whole like 2-hour presentation. We ended up doing a 22-city tour across America, going to all the different lairs, talking to all the guys. I got to meet all the other lair chiefs. And then we hop back into this, they had rented this RV, and then we go to the next city and do it again. At this point, shit was getting kind of weird, because this is now around 2010, and at this time I'd met all these different gurus, and I'd seen so many things and done so many boot camps, but I was on that level where I was like, not a student, it was I'm on the, like the inner circle. And I started going to these private meetings that were just for coaches. You know, all these different pickup gurus, pickup coaches or whatever. They have their own little circle where they just get together as coaches, and then they do meetings on how to be a coach. And then, you know, they actually talk about what drills you should do and how to actually structure a boot camp. At that point, I had written my first ebook, my book 2 Questions, and that was available for a download, a PDF download on my website. And I had built up enough credential where I started doing personal coaching, and I was now charging. At first, when I started, I was doing 2 hours for $250, where, you know, I would go out and I'd actually help these guys approach, and I had to take it further because I would actually go to the guys' houses, and then I'd sit around and I'd look at their house like, why is this guy not getting girls? Let's find out the real reasons, and let's not give him just some like magic. Let's not give him the magic pill. Let's try to fix the person's life. And I'd find some interesting stuff at some of these students' houses. That was like one guy, he didn't have toilet paper. I had to take a shit. I'm like, I use his bathroom. There's no toilet paper. I'm like, hey bro, there's no toilet paper. I'm calling the door. He's like, oh, there's baby wipes underneath. I'm like, what's with the baby wipes? And he's like, oh, you know, I put them there because I thought women will think I'm more like a sensitive guy. And I'm like, no, she's gonna think you're a creepy weirdo because you don't have toilet paper. Like, put some toilet paper in your house. He's like, oh, okay. You know, and you find out like these guys, you know, their clothes, they're fucking moth-eaten. Or I walk into one guy's house and he's got like stacks of magazines everywhere. Got into this other guy's house, and he has a nice house, and like all that's in his living room is a fucking couch. There's no TV. Like, why would a girl, you know, you're gonna talk to the girl like, let's go back to my house and watch a movie, a little Netflix and chill. Well, I'm like, where's your TV, bro? Like, why are you trying to pick up girls and you don't even have a fucking TV in your house? And he's like, oh, I usually watch it on my phone. Like, well, she don't want to watch TV. Who would sit around watching Hulu on your fucking phone? Like, you know, like these guys have little issues like that they are unaware of. So I actually usually go to a student's house and I'd start pointing out like, you need to do this, you need to do this to display certain levels of value to them. You need to have legitimate value if you want to get these 10s. So I try to take it beyond, you know, pickup coaching, just in field stuff, and I was doing more like full-on lifestyle coaching. Or I would take them out to the club, and I had these lapel mics. I ended up getting glasses with a little microphone and a camera in the middle of it, and I had a watch that had a video recording watch, and I would take these guys out, and I could hear what they're saying, and then I'd be like, you know, go in and open this set. All right, you need to stand up straight. You shouldn't have your hands in your pockets. You're mumbling. I can hear you. You're mumbling. I'm not mumbling. I can hear you, motherfucker. Like, you're mumbling. You need to speak clear like a fucking man. You need to talk to this woman like an alpha male who is going to be able to... we're not trying to get in the friend zone here. You want to take her home and push her up against the doorway and fuck her. You know, like, you want to give her the dick that she wants it. You know, you got to be able to... Anyway, you got to... Just helping them with their delivery. I can hear the lines and everything like that. And then I'm also recording them at the same time. I take a guy to the grocery store and I'm sitting there looking. I look like a shopper, you know. And but at the same time I'm recording them. I can hear what they're saying and I can talk to them on the lapel mic. Okay, move in. You know, you should be escalating Keno at this point. High five the girl. She's giving you IOIs. Move the target, and then I follow them around. At one point, I was in a full-on tactical vest on Las Vegas Strip, like hiding in the bushes, recording the dude, telling him what to say, and helping the guy make out with his girl that he wanted. And but at that point, it was like, you know, for all the work that I'm doing, I need to be charging more. So I had to up the price to like $350 an hour to do all this tactical shit. Now, at that point, you know, it was starting to get bigger, and, you know, ever since, I've always had 100% success rate. So what I'm teaching these guys is legitimately helping them either get more sex, find girlfriends, or build more confidence. That's basically the main three things that you deal with in coaching. Is I notice it's like these guys come and they either have never really got laid and they want some skill so that they can just start getting more pussy. They want to be able to be a player, be able to fuck girls, and put more notches in the bedpost. And, you know, that's fine if you're at that stage. That's there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, I was there for a long time. I wanted to just kind of, you know, handle that. Now I'm at the point where I only go for very, very specific girls, and I'm more into quality rather than quantity. But at the time, there was a time when quantity was important, just to go through the process, because I was really into like learning the process. I was like, okay, I'll fuck any bitch. I want to go through the process. I want to get so I want this to be ingrained so well in my head that I'm so good at this that when I do go up to a girl that I really want, I'm not going to screw it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to happen. Boom. At that point, she was getting pretty hot at that point. I was starting to get a lot of good testimonials on my website. You know, the word was really getting around. I moved my price up to $2,000 for a day to basically just work with me for 8 to 10 hours. 8 hours, but then I would usually, you know, there'd be lunch breaks and that kind of thing. Overall, it would be like, end up like being like 10 hours, something like that. And then I upped the price again to $2,500. It was like $24.99, whatever. Sometimes, you know, that much information is too much for a guy in one day, so I would break it down into like maybe 2 4-hour sessions. Occasionally I break it into 4 2-hour sessions. One guy, you know, he'd never heard about any of this before. He paid me $2,500 cash. I went to his house first, and I brought my whiteboard. This guy was freshly divorced. He married his high school sweetheart, I think, when he was 19 after high school, and they were together till he was like, I don't know, he was like 28 years old or something like that. And this guy was just completely depressed. Kind of reminded me of how I was. And so for like 2 hours, I sat around on the whiteboard explaining him the basics. And then he did, with the next session, he was like, oh, I'm still not ready to go out to the club. And so I came back to his house like the next day. We did another 2 hours. And I was like, okay, tomorrow we're going to go start doing some approaches on the strip. And he's like, well, I'm not really ready yet. And I just kind of like, you know, maybe we could just have a beer. And, you know, so I sat around, like, he's like, we could just do the other 2 hours right now if you want to kick it for a little bit. But, and it was like I was just chilling with the dude. Like, I don't think he necessarily was ready to talk to girls. He just needed a friend. Like, he just needed someone to kind of be there. And because a lot of the session was me trying to teach him the techniques, but he was more into just kind of telling me the drama with the girl. So it was like I was kind of playing the psychologist role. So that was something interesting that I encountered. All around at this same time, I had actually ended up attracting this girl named Michelle. She was this sexy redhead girl. She was a banker, and I ended up moving in with her after a month of dating, and she really became the love of my life. She was an amazing person. It was a great experience. We were actually together for 2 years. You know, she ended up taking me on this all-inclusive trip to Cancun. Like, I was just, you know, she treated me like a rock star. In the end, it was kind of, you know, as a PUA, our mission is to survive and reproduce. You know, it's not just about picking up girls. Ultimately, it has to go somewhere. We're trying to replicate our genes, reproduction, have children. And she didn't want to have children, so eventually I had to break the relationship off. And it really fucking hurt, because I felt that she was the right person for me. And but she didn't want kids. She just wanted it to be us two, and she just wanted to kind of party and move to Mexico and live on the beach with a dog. And you know, that would have been great. But I was like, no, I'm not going to be 60 years old with like no kids. That's just something to me I felt that's not my path. You know, I'm looking for a woman who wants to have a family. So ultimately I had to break it off, and then I, you know, just got back out there and kept doing my thing. At this point, shit was taking it to the next level, where we start renting out these banquet halls, and or these other guys came in from New York, the guy who was the chief of the New York lair. And they ended up, him and his partner and a couple other guys, they got financed, and they ended up getting a mansion. And it was Project Las Vegas Mansion. So they started getting students over there, started doing bigger shows. Now he had this huge living room with a pool. Guys would come in there. I was doing some little private workshops. Now at this point, I'm now making a legitimate amount of money when I can go out and make $2,500 in a day, in 8 hours. And so at that point I was like, wow, how can I step this up to the next level? So I'd been watching this guy, David D'Angelo, Eben Pagan. He's delivering this program called Altitude. And he's got it on DVD. And anyway, but the live seminar, it's a DVD program that he charges, I don't know, it's like $400 to buy it or something like, or $3,000 or whatever. Something to buy these 14 DVDs of him. And they're each an hour long of him talking about how to create your own business. And he's talking about internet marketing and all kind of stuff like that. Business stuff, financial stuff. And then he even says it in front of the group. He's like, you know, I'm going to make, basically my payday is $3 million for one day of work. And I'm thinking like $3 million in a day. And he's like, if you look at the logistics, it's $10,000 to attend this seminar, this 2-day or 3-day seminar. And he's like, if we look at the number of seats, there's 300 people in the audience that all paid $10,000 to be here. That's $3 million. And I'm like, whoa. Wait a minute, like fuck these little 3 and 5 man boot camps and like one person at a time for 25. Like I did a 5-man boot camp. Now that's $2,500 a person. We did 4 hours on a Friday night where it was in a classroom, basically like teaching them the techniques, and then the next 4 hours was in the club. Anyway, 2 days of work, that was $12,500. So. And it's not taxable. Like that's just take-home money, because it's like it's not a legitimate business. It's more like I'm offering the service, and you know, you give me a donation or whatever. There's some politics to it, but yeah, you can make $10,000 in a day. Like, you know, if you have something to deliver that people will pay for. But then I look at that and I'm like, whoa, that's dope. Now there's no. I'm like, why? Now you can't take a huge group of guys out, like 30 guys. And do a boot camp, because it just gets you want, as an instructor, you want it to be like 3 people, you know, max 5 maybe, but try to do 3. After that it gets kind of hectic. I did the 5-man, but it's people start talking amongst themselves, and it's hard to hold a group that long and talk to so many people for, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. But anyway, I started thinking, oh man, like I can. Why don't I do like a 4-hour seminar, and you know, for like $500 and fill up a whole room. So I did this audience. It was like 35 people, and charged $497. Hold on, let me just show you the payday here. $497. We do these weird 97 like. Or $447 or $497 or $997, like just because there's all these little marketing tactics of the way that you put the number so that it sounds cheaper to the customer. But anyway, $497 times 35 people in a room doing my target market assessment program. That's my payday for the day, in one day, 4 hours. Now I was a little skeptical at first, trying to say like, man, I'm going to have a room full of people. If we're going to try to get rent out a banquet hall and do a legitimate presentation and charge $500 or $1,000 to each one of these guys, if I'm going to make a lot of money in one day, this has to be on point. So we did kind of a practice one at first, without so many people. We did a boot camp basically for 8 guys, and it was me and one of my wings. And it was like, we made it for like it was like a sleepover thing. And these guys came with a sleeping bag and their clothes. And so for like 4 hours, we were just in the living room with a whiteboard and teaching them the approaches. And then I'd have them pair up in groups. And me and my wing were basically going over the approach techniques. And we drilled them for like 4 hours. And then we took a lunch break, dinner break. You know, we went out together, talk, eating dinner, and then we went out to the club. And we did like a 4-hour game, 10 o'clock to 2 at the XS at the Wynn. And then they came back and they all crashed at the house. They, you know, practiced their approaches. All new guys, never heard about any of this stuff before. Well, mostly, but and then the next day we did it again. They woke up and like in the morning we woke up. They did like a walk your dog in the park game because the dude has a dog, so we give him the dog and kind of like on the show The Pickup Artist. He walks around the coffee shop with the dog. So we let him walk around the park. And I tried to open sets, and then we did like a day game at the mall, and then we had lunch, and then we went out to the club, and then we had like a little graduation ceremony. Like we got the guys trophies, like best approach or best. Yeah, it was AFC to PUA on the trophy. It was good. But anyway, $897 times 8 guys. That's $7,000 in one day that I split with my wing. So that's a pretty good payday. After that, I was like, okay, so I did my target market assessment program that I created, which was basically my first biggest program because I'm really big on target market assessment. Most guys, these pickup gurus, they just take guys to the club and they're like, just start opening sets. But if the guy wants a specific type of girl, like if you're just opening a bunch of random girls, you're working on the skill, but you're not really going for what you want. You know, you end up with a girl that's not necessarily who you would really date, and that relationship is really doomed to fail before it starts. So I'm more into like teaching a student to say like, hey, what do you really want in a woman? Now most guys are like, I don't know, tits, ass, you know, and it's kind of like, can you be a little more specific? And they'll go, well, I kind of like this kind of girl. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Well, tell me a little more about this girl. You know, like if someone asks me like, what kind of girls do you go for? I could give them a very detailed explanation. I know the type of girl that I date more better than she knows herself. You know, I know everything about her. I know the type of music she listens to, where she hangs out, whatever. Like, so let's say, for example, like one of my students, he was a Mexican dude, and he wants hot Latino girls. And when I'm asking him, you know, where do you go to Sarge for girls, for hot Latino girls? And he's like, I'll go to Pure Nightclub. Say, well, that's great if you want 22-year-old, 23-year-old hot blonde college white girls. If you want hot Latino girls, you need to go to Crown Nightclub on Thursday night because that's Latin night where they're going to have Latin girls, bunch of Latin girls, as many as you want. So he's like, oh, okay. So basically, I'm I call it target market assessment, and it's sitting down and figuring out exactly what you want and then building your game plan around that. Now this guy, he doesn't have to just run around and open up sets. He can be like, okay, now on my calendar, every Thursday night, I will be at Crown Nightclub, you know, at 10 p.m. And I'll have, you know, condom in my pocket. I'll have a game plan of how I'm going to open. If you're a white, like, you know, maybe work on your Spanish a little bit so you can communicate with a Latin girl, anything like that. So that's how I do my game. Anyway, so I do this seminar, 35 people, $497. Let me show you the payday. Open my calculator real quick. 35 people times $497. Mind you, this is one day that I walk home with this amount of cash in my pocket. Okay? But it was a trick though, man. It was like, this is a legitimate hustle, you know what I'm saying? I'm also got those original D-boy, and I slang dope on these streets. Now I'm slanging that knowledge, getting paid fat. Now I feel like I've always gotten really good reviews. There is some shady shit and some scams that go on in the community. I got to see it more just being at the guru level where you're dealing with other gurus and you get to, you hear them talk, and I won't mention any names here, but I want to talk to you about something that you really should try to keep in mind if you are looking for a coach. There is one person in particular who hires hookers for his boot camp. He came to town and did a boot camp here. He charged $2,500, and he had taken a couple of my students, and we found out about this later, and we kind of overheard. I won't get into all the specifics, but what happened is this guy hired these hookers for like $80 hookers or whatever. I don't know exactly how much he paid the hookers or whatever. Maybe she wanted 80 and he gave her 250 or something like that. But they had a room. He had already rented a room that was up in the hotel, and basically he would take the guys out, and he's like, him and the hooker, there was like a conspiracy going on between them where she would know like who his students were, and he would tell his students, you know, go up to that girl right there and use this line. I guarantee you it's gonna work. And you know, these students that had paid $2,500 of their money, thinking that they were getting techniques that would get them women, was really just getting them a hooker. That was all a setup. And so the student would enter into the set, talk to the single girl, the hooker, and using whatever the line, or they were wearing like a specific shirt that the hooker knew. And like I said, I'm not going to reveal the whole ordeal here. It's just something for you to be aware of. But then the hooker would respond to the guy's approach, no matter what it was, and then she'd make him think that he was picking her up, and they'd end up at the room, and you know, they'd have sex, and then he'd come back down thinking he's some kind of like superstar pickup artist. And anyway, this guy made a bunch of money off a bunch of my students, and then took off, didn't pay me my 20%, and some things happened, some drama went down. I won't get into that either, but these types of things happen in the community. So like, you gotta watch out for some of these gurus that offer a service and they're not really providing you the service. We had another guy come through town, I won't say his name, and he did this boot camp where a bunch of students paid him $500, and he disappeared. He didn't help them out. He was just like, yeah, go talk to them. And he started talking to some girl. I think he was using the students like to make him look good. And he started like, he's like, yeah, I got all these guys. I'm teaching them how to pick up chicks. And yeah, they're a bunch of fucking, you know, nerdy losers. And he's like, I just got paid all this money. And I think he took off with the girl. And we don't know what happened to that dude. But, you know, all the students, they came back to me the next day like, hey, what happened to, you know, this particular person? And I was like, I don't know, I wasn't there. But basically they had all blown $500 a piece on thinking that they were getting coaching, and this guy just bounced. So, you know, just if you do get personal coaching, be aware of those types of things. Now later there ended up being some lair wars with some of the guys from New York that came here and created the Project Vegas Mansion. First they ended up getting this 9-bedroom house, and then they moved it into this other bigger mansion with a bigger pool, and it had the stairs that go up like this, and it was right on a golf course. No, the first one was on a golf course. The bigger mansion was over on it was like Flamingo and Pecos, that area, East Vegas. And nice house, had the big 4 pillars in the front. They had a limousine. It was a short limousine. It was like $60,000 that they paid for it. And he had rented out all the rooms. He put in bunk beds and shit, like triple stacked bunk beds where students could come there. And I don't know how many people were ended up staying there. They were trying to kind of copy the story in the game with Project Hollywood. And he had a bunch of students there. They were all paying him so many thousands of dollars a month to stay there and get basically 24-hour coaching, and also be able to go to the clubs and then tell girls, yeah, I live in a mansion. And I thought it was kind of stupid, because any girl that, when you tell her I live in a mansion and you take her to a mansion and she finds out you're staying in a bunk bed with a bunch of other dudes, like, yeah, no, like, but anyway, like, now at that time I had stopped doing so many meetups, because at that point it was like, you know, I have guru status now. I'm just gonna do one show, you know, one lecture, make whatever amount of money that I want to make, and if you could sell tickets, you know, like if you could find people that will pay the money, then you can make a lot of money in this game really quickly. Now, being the fact that it's now 2016 and the community is really washed out, and most people can get all the information off watching YouTube videos, you know, it's not as lucrative of a business being a pickup coach as it used to be. So it's more like, I mean, I'll be honest, in Vegas now, it's more like, okay, sometimes you find a student who wants to do a one-off, you make, you know, $2,000, $3,000 in a day, and then a couple of weeks will go by and maybe another student will show up. It's not like it was where, you know, the community was at its peak, like around in, I want to say 2009 to around 2011, and then it's kind of washed out. Now at that point, the guy from New York, he had pretty much taken over the lair, but then later he left the community. I don't know if he had some kind of attack of consciousness or I don't know. Nobody knows what happened. He just disappeared. The mansion got sold and the community is kind of like, it just split apart. You know, I'm still close with a couple of the guys. You know, me and Christian still kick it all the time, and we go out and tear it up and do what we do. But right around that time, around 2011, 2012, I stopped going out as much because it wasn't, like I said, about quantity anymore. It's more about quality. And I had some other issues in my life that I wanted to deal with. So my story since then, about the last 3 years, has been writing and publishing all kinds of books and DVDs and working on my music and just building my value as a man, just stepping up my game to a whole new level. You know, I put out a new book called 10 Steps to Success, which is basically a collection of all of the best stuff that I've learned over the last 10 years and all the information that out of the 2,500 self-help books that I've read, and I basically boiled it down all into 10 easy steps for any guy to pick up and change their life with, and it's with all aspects. It's like a whole lifestyle overhaul, we could say, including all 3 pillars of self-help, which is health, wealth, and relationship. And then I just been doing several other projects as well, working with my music, with my soaping, tattooing, mostly in front of the computer most of the time. You know, I wrote over 50 books the last 3 years, and I'm just slowly putting the final touches and publishing one at a time, getting them out there. My game now is I'm not really into the whole, you know, cold approach type of thing. It's fun, but because of what I've done, my game is at a different level. And it was kind of interesting. A buddy of mine who's in a band, you know, one night I went out and I got 34 phone numbers within 4 hours. And he was like, that's pretty good. I got over 600 phone numbers in 30 seconds. And I was like, whoa, you got to teach me that technique. How did you do that? He's like, well, I'm in a band. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, so at his show, he has these 2 big screens that play on either side of him. They play, you know, graphics and stuff like fire flashes when he's playing guitar. But at one point it'll say, you know, this is our Instagram, follow it, or, you know, text for whatever, I don't know. But so he did this sellout show with so many thousands of people, and so I guess they had 600 people respond, and so essentially he got 600 numbers in 30 seconds of them flashing the ad and then people texting in. And I was like, whoa, like fame game. Now anyway, because I've built up a certain level of minor celebrity status between the pickup community, the soap shoes and rapping and being an author, I'm at the point now where I don't necessarily have to go out gaming to get a girl. They more will find me on Facebook or YouTube and DM me on my Instagram or private message me, and things happen that way. For example, recently I was dating a girl. She's a model for Budweiser and NASCAR, hot brunette. She was like 5'6", 105 pounds, nice little fucking ass, like, you know, and it was amazing. But I didn't approach her. She found me on Facebook and was like, wow, like, you seem interesting. I'm new into town. You know, do you want to hang out? It's like, you know, girls like that will now open me. I don't have to do anything. There's no getting dressed up and going out to the club to start, you know, hey guys, I can only stay a second. I'm here with friends. But what do you guys think about girls and tattoos? Oh, really? Because my little niece, you know, she's only 19 and she's been dating this guy Steve for 2 months. She's about to get his name tattooed on her. You know, there's none of that anymore. Now, I'm not telling you this to brag or anything like that. If anything, I just want to inspire you and share my story and kind of tell anyone out there who may be going through some type of the same thing or having some kind of problems with dealing with women, that there is a solution. And I know because I experienced it. I've had sex with a girl in as little as 5 minutes. 5 minutes from open to close. As far as I know, it's the fastest close time in the seduction community. I figured out how to get a girl's phone number in a club in 2.7 seconds. And that's timed, it's verified by dozens of people. You can easily get girls' numbers in 15 seconds, minute and a half. You can easily have sex with a girl within 7 to 10 minutes, meeting her on the dance floor and taking her over. Sex on the dance floor happens all the time in Vegas. Sex in the toilet. I fucked girls that I met. I go up and I open them and within 45 minutes I'm fucking them doggy style in the stairwell of a parking structure. Like, things happen. I mean, in Vegas I guess it's a different beast out here. You know, I don't know if I don't live in Los Angeles anymore and I'm not really gaming out there. So I would suspect maybe some of those things happen. Maybe in Hollywood, taking a girl from the club out to the car. Out here, it's more, you can walk around with liquor. The laws are different. Things are open 24 hours. People get trashed. They're drinking till, you know, from afternoon until 10 the next morning. You know, so just I guess being in Vegas, it's kind of like playing the game with a handicap on it as well. It's not that it's easier. It's just different. You know. Like New York, that's a whole, I went out there on tour. That was a whole different ball game because people don't live out, they live up. And it's a lot of single sets that are going down an elevator, traveling to work, going up to an office, going back down, walking to Subway, going back. Everyone's kind of by themselves and on their own, or until it's like the weekend or at night and you traveling in groups. And the mentality and the personality is a little different, you know. Been down to like Florida. I like gaming in Florida. The Tallahassee lair was dope. Miami, Tampa Bay. You know, all the girls down there, Florida, very southern, different type of mentality. You know, even the strippers are friendly and will actually hang out with you. And you don't have to game them. Like, you can just be a real person. You know, Vegas stripper game is pretty tough. You got a lot of competition, but again, it can be done. My boy Maz will walk into pretty much any strip club and use his specific line of techniques and be making out with hot strippers within 3 minutes. And it's awesome to watch. But this stuff, it really works. A lot of people say it's mumbo jumbo, but I'm here to say it absolutely works. I have plenty of home video that I can't share with everyone publicly, but privately, I have all kinds of video of me fucking all kinds of different girls over the last 10 years here doing this shit. I've had wonderful, meaningful relationships with girls, love, pleasure. I fucked 5 girls at the same time with a girl who was bisexual that I was dating, and for my birthday, I had told her, because I had threesomes done with 2 girls. I've done it with the couple, a girl and a guy. They were a couple, and so they invited me in, and me and dude, we fucking she sucked both our dicks. We fucking ran a train on her. We did the little pyramid vibe, like, yeah, dog, like, that shit was ill. 3 girls at the same time. I told the girl that I was dating, I said, threesomes are kind of old. I want to have a 6-some. She's like, what? I was like, I want maybe you and 4 other girls. I want 5 girls at the same time to suck my cock, and then I want them all to bend over doggy style, and I want to experience different pussies. And that happened. Now, we went to the Green Door, which is a swingers club, and we managed to round up 4 other girls and her, and so I've got to experience things like that in this game. One of my favorite experiences was a threesome that I had with a girl that I was dating. She was 19, and in Las Vegas, 16 is the age of consent, not 18, and she had a 16-year-old sister. I had a threesome with them. They were legitimate sisters, and they were both fully bisexual and enjoyed being with each other. They had been doing it for I don't know how long. But, it was a full-on threesome with 2 sisters. It was amazing. And, I told a couple buddies of mine, and they're like, that's like $1 million fuck. Like, that's every guy's fantasy, is to be with sisters. Like, all because of this game. Went to a hotel party. There was this one girl, she was rolling on fucking ecstasy, pulled me in the bathroom, wanted to give me a blowjob. I told her, I gotta take a piss first, and she's like, just do it in my mouth. I'm like, what? She got on her knees, I fucking pissed in her mouth, and then after she was done, you know, we just jumped in the shower, and then I fucked her, and you know, like shit like that. Like, bitches be giving blowjobs on the dance floor, or like, she gave me an AI approach invitation. Come here. Came over, and we start just instantly making out. Start fucking rubbing on her pussy, and basically like, she was like, oh yeah. So I started kind of pushing down on her shoulders. She dropped down, popped my fucking cock out, started sucking my cock, like right there. There's all these people around, and no one even noticed except my friends on the other side of the room, and they're just kind of like looking over like, so that happens. We did an event where a couple of us got together, and we drove to fucking San Dimas in California, and we went to go do water park game at the fucking Raging Waters or whatever, and they have that the wave pool. I opened a 2-set in my inner tube, and there's a girl and her boyfriend. I fucking DHV, I was nagging, I befriended the fucking obstacle, the AMOG, started talking to them, and next thing you know, I'm ended up like, there's a sexual fucking fire between us, and the guy didn't even know, and so I was like, hey, we should go over here, and then we linked chains or what, we linked inner tubes. I'm holding hers, she was holding his, and he's like kind of swimming, and I start rubbing on her leg, and she's like looking back, like smiling. I fucking flipped her bikini bottom to the side. I start finger banging her. She's just like, she turns around like, anyway, I'm finger banging her, and her boyfriend is right next to her. I'm thinking like, damn, I'm a pimp, like, oh, I can't wait to tell my boys about this shit. But this one bitch I picked up at the bar, she was with her mom, and so her mom was the obstacle, and I was with a wing woman that night, my homegirl, and my wing woman was occupying her mom while I was running game on the girl. And long story short, this chick lived in like Ohio, and she ended up paying for my plane ticket and my hotel for a week, and paid for all my food, flew me out there, and basically just got us a hotel room, and we just fucked all week. Like, that was exquisite. I was like, that was some real player shit. This bitch is paying for my flights now. Like, okay, like I'm a first class player now. Picked up this one bitch, fucked her. The next day, she drove us out to Disneyland for the day. Paid for my ticket. She got a room for us at the Disneyland Resort Hotel or whatever. And I'm finger banging her on the mountain horn, the Matterhorn. Like, we're going that fucking ride with the abominable snowman and shit. So we're going through there, and I'm finger banging her just like on. There was this old movie from the 90s where this guy does that. So I'm fucking finger banging her on that. She was giving me a blowjob on Small World. So it's playing the song Small World, whatever, and I'm just relaxing, like this chick bobbing my knob, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so pimp, bro. Like, that was ill. I was strung the fuck out on dope, and it was around the holidays, and there was this girl that I was with, and so I gave her a candy cane in front of her Christmas tree. She's fucking banging her pussy with the candy cane, wearing the Santa hat, and nothing but a Santa hat and the boots. That was dope. Picking up a bitch in the bar, she gives you, like, she's drunk. She's like, you know, I was like, well, don't worry, like, I'll be your tour guide. She gives me her keys to her car. I'm just cruising down the strip in her car. She's giving me roadhead. A lot of guys wanna fuck bitches in the ass. They think like, oh, that's the wrong hole, or I gotta do certain things. No, bitches love it in that fucking ass. I fucked a bitch in the ass on the first date. Before I even fucked her in the pussy, brought her just to see if I could do it. People were betting against it. Brought a bitch home from the club, pushed her up against the door frame, and I started fucking kind of fingering her ass, and she's like, ooh. I was like, you like that? And I pulled my dick out. I put it in her ass, fucked her in the ass, and she was loving it, bro. Fucking, you know, pulling her hair. So after that happened, she's like, I can't believe, like, that, you know, that just happened. And after that, you know, she's just like, she just wanted to start hanging out and do that every day. Bitches like it in the ass, man. Like, you know, just guys get nervous. They want to fuck bitches in the ass, but they get scared, and they're like, can we, I really like to try that. And then the girl will just be like, no, she's gonna test you. You just got to put it in. Like just whip your shit out and go for it. Asian bitches, that was a trip because I was having a lot of issues trying to talk to them, because you start talking to Chinese girls and shit, and they're always like, no English, and it's like, bitch, I know you speak English, like, you're going to the fucking college, so, like, you speak English. And so I was like, fuck this. I try to beat them at their own game. So I got a book, and I actually sat for about a month, and I just learned basic Chinese. I learned how to count to 20. I learned all the, like, ni hao, ni chi fa la ma, like, hello, have you eaten rice today? Have you want some coffee? And then they would be like, you speak a Chinese? And I'm like, well, no, but I really like to take you to the Starbucks. Oh, you're so funny. Like, and so I started picking up Chinese bitches doing that shit. Picked up strippers, fucked them without paying for it. I fucked a porn star, fucked a restaurant hostess, go-go dancers, bartenders, shot girls. Fucked this one bitch, she was a lawyer, classy bitch. Whips, chains, BDSM. Being able to go to a dope-ass house party and pick a girl off of the floor and go kick it with her in the jacuzzi, start making out, fucking straddle you over, start rubbing her pussy, rub the fucking bikini to the side, fucking slip it in, fuck her in under 2 hours, and then after you're done, like, be like, that was cool, like, maybe exchange numbers, and then go back to the party and hunt for seconds. I did this one event with my wingman where we had rented a hotel room on Fremont Street, and then we would just go down and approach girls and pull them back up to the room and fuck them, and then go back out for seconds and try to pull another girl back up there. Fucking crazy stories, man. Crazy Vegas nights. Popping all kinds of fucking ecstasy pills. Popping some Motorola pills and just going out to the club and opening sets. Picked up this one girl, fucked her, got us a hotel, and then ordered fucking room service with French champagne and chocolate covered strawberries, feeding them to me, and just feeling like a boss. Like, that's what's up. Pulling bitches into the fucking restroom, fucking them in the stall where they're rubbing their pussy. Love this shit, man. PUA. But it's been an adventure, man. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. I just wanted to share a little bit of my story with you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it inspired you to get out there and make it happen. I think one of the biggest problems with most guys, if I was to give you one piece of advice with women, whether you want to just get laid or you want a girlfriend who you really love and adore and want to spend your life with, the number one thing that you could do today, right now, is to drink a cup of coffee, get in the shower, get dressed, get your swagger on, and get the fuck out of your house. Like, just get out there. That's the biggest problem, is that most guys, they just sit there and they think about it and they think about it and they think about it some more, and they never take an action step, and nothing ever happens. And then those guys, they're so lazy, they don't go out and approach nothing, that they just end up on Plenty of Fish or so Plenty of Shit site, Match.com, and that is not going to work for you either, because if you're not the type of man who's living an attractive lifestyle that's naturally attractive to beautiful women, then why would they want you? It's easy to look at a man's profile and be like, yep, no. Women look for certain things with guys, and you either have it or you don't. But if you don't, you can learn how to get it. Might take time, might take you a little while to learn the skill, might take a little while to get your life together, but just just get dressed and get out of the house, you know. And people say, oh, what about by myself? Like, I don't want to go out by myself. Why not? Why not? I go out by myself all the time. The other day, I was jogging around in the just jogging. I like to jog the strip at night. I have this cool Nike jogging suit, and I got my Beats headphones, wireless. I jog from where I'm at by UNLV. I jog down to the Stratosphere and back. It's about a 12-mile loop, and I do that a couple times a week to stay in shape. And as I'm walking, sometimes I walk, run. I don't run the whole way, but as I'm walking, I see a beautiful woman on the street. I might just open a set and talk to her. And, you know, I can't stay long as, you know, I'm exercising, but we should at least keep in touch. What's your number? You know? What's your Snapchat? Like I said, I don't really like to go for numbers. It's 2016. That's kind of old school. I feel like numbers went out in, like, I don't know, 2009 or 2012-ish or something like that. Like, I'd rather get a girl's Kick, Snapchat, Instagram, and contact her that way, and then get her onto Skype, so it's a face-to-face chat, start establishing comfort, and then have her, then just, you know, Netflix and chill. Just, you know, no dates, no formal dates, nothing like that. I don't really feel comfortable on formal dates. No one likes that shit, you know. Like, that's cool if I'm with a girl who's my girlfriend, you know, then I might want to get dressed up and go for a night on the town, get a 6-pack of beer, and like walk down the strip and skip together and dance and act like kids, you know, and have fun, have a good time. Or maybe get dressed up and go to a fancy schmancy dinner or something like that, you know, like, if it's my girlfriend. But if it's someone you just met, like, just be a cool dude, just be chill, you know. Just tell her, like, don't say like, I want to take you out. Just say like, let's, you know, you seem pretty cool, we should hang out. I'm having a pool party next week. And then if you don't have a pool, have a barbecue. Invite, you know, 3 or 4 of your friends over and just say, yeah, it's just, you seem interesting. I'd like to get to know you better. I don't really know you right now, but we're having a barbecue on Tuesday and we could use a wild card. You know, just roll through, bring a friend. I've got a couple cute guy friends that are single as well. You know, have that girl come and bring a friend, and then just hang out and get to know each other. It doesn't all have to be about banging the girl. Sometimes it's just about connecting with another person. You know, sometimes the biggest thing you can do in pickup is not necessarily get to know the girl, but get to know her friends, get to know her guy friends or girlfriends, and become the leader of her group. If all of her friends are looking up to you as the alpha male, then she is going to want to be with you just to revalidate herself, like, to all of her friends. Now her friends are like, man, how'd you meet this cool guy? Like, he's cute. And then she's going to be like, he's mine. Like, she'll start hanging on you. I remember this one girl, she was having a party at her house, and I didn't go straight up to her and start talking to her. I met everyone at the house. I knew exactly what I was doing. Like, I showed up at the house. I had a bag full of 12 40-ounce beers because I wanted to, like, make this shit a gangster party. So I rolled up with, you know, these bags from 7-Eleven. I had 12. There was like, whatever, 10 people. I brought like 12 beers, 40-ounce beers, 40-ounce Budweisers. And I roll up in the party, and I'm like, it's a gangster party now. They're like, oh, this guy brought 40s, what? And, you know, so I gave everyone a 40. I was like, yeah, this is how we do it in LA. Like, you know, in LA, growing up there, we like to bonfire at Dockweiler Beach and, you know, drink 40 ounces, smoke some bud. And like, so I show up and I'm just a cool dude. I met everyone. I shook everyone's hand. I was like telling the girl, like, you know, don't be rude, introduce me to your friends. She's like, oh, this is my buddy Danny. And I was like, oh, what's going on, man? I'm Ryan. Yeah, hey, I brought you a 40, bro. Nice to meet you. You know, it's a bonding experience. I'm just having fun talking to all her friends, all her girlfriends, guy friends. You know, I don't come there wanting anything. I'm not all thirsty like, I gotta fuck this girl tonight. You know, there's no rush, you know. And just, by the end of the night, what is she doing? Trying to get my attention, because I'm the life of the party. You know, and she wants to be the woman behind the man. So now she's sitting on my lap and we're smoking a cigarette. Like, you know, have you ever done a shotgun? She's like, oh my God, I haven't done that since high school. I'm like, I'm about to take you back to 9th grade right now. Take a drag. Right. gangsta. She's like, oh my God, you're so crazy. You know, and that's how it starts. The next thing you know, we're making out, and then we're back in the bedroom and we fuck, and then we, you know, go back to the party. And then just get out of the house, guys. That's step number one. Get dressed, you know, get some coffee, and just go. Just go. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna take off. It was fun hanging out. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Leave your comments in the box below. Subscribe to my channel, and got a lot more of these fun videos coming up. Hope to see you guys soon. Right now, I'm feeling pretty fly. You know, I'm about to you know, head out of the house and go open some sets. Anyway, see you guys out in the field. Be safe. Peace.